Thank you for auditing the Always Positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who will once again be talking about Megan Thee Stallion. You may have noticed that I like saying Megan Thee Stallion. I've never understood why she has an extra E at the end of her name. Is it some kind of slang? I don't know. I'm in my 40s. I live in the suburbs. I don't know if this is some like southern rap thing, but I've always called her Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know, I find it funny. And as I get ready to review this album, Traumazine, I realized that the front cover has her face in multiple exposures with different expressions. And there's 3 or 4, basically 3 different faces that you see on the front. And then as I was listening to this album, I realized that really, there's about 3, maybe 4, but really 3 prominent personalities that she is putting out here. So that's why I titled this video Megan Thee Stallion. That's why I think the extra E is there, so it's easier to pronounce when we try to study this person. What are her 3 attributes that she shows on this album? She's angry, she's horny, and she's worried. Those are the 3 dominant emotions. Anger is usually accompanied by a sort of pride that she has in herself, a need to assert herself in a world that wants to sort of push her down. The horniness is not just about being horny, but also about her being able to have access to and control over her own sexual power, which was the topic of most of her last album. And self-care is one of my favorite parts. This whole bit about being worried, about trying to deal with your anxiety, trying to deal with your sense of guilt. This is this general movement that we're seeing throughout hip-hop of rap artists preaching the value of taking care of yourself, of admitting your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses. And taken all together, we have a very complete image of a young woman, a young artist, who's a very complex person. And it's a different sort of kind of empowerment. You know, it's not just like, I'm great, I'm the best. It's really this very complicated person that she's putting forth. And it's been an interesting summer. You know, I reviewed Lizzo, I reviewed Beyonce, now I'm reviewing this. And in each case, I have to take time to mention the fact that African American women are at least doubly marginalized by their womanness and by their African Americanness. They are often pigeonholed in society, put down by patriarchy and racism, a sort of 1-2 punch. And yet, we're seeing with these 3 releases, you know, where the album covers are kind of similar. There's some like crossover with like Houston with Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion, and then the Lizzo and Megan Thee Stallion covers are both sort of black and white imagery. There's this real sort of moment happening in this summer of 2022. And I love it because I might actually prefer listening to Good News, the last album by Megan Thee Stallion. I think the production's better in general, but the person who she's putting forth here is a much more interesting and much more complete person. It's kind of seen too in the clumsy portmanteau of the title Traumazine. I suppose it's like a magazine of trauma, but I don't quite get it. But a portmanteau actually hints at plurality. Now, for the last review that I did of Megan Thee Stallion, I really laid into the work of French proto-feminist Simone de Beauvoir, who really writes a lot about female sexuality and its power, and I think I did a pretty good job. I'll include a link to that video up there. This is really kind of a 2-part piece. But what I like about this new album, Traumazine, is that I can still apply a lot of de Beauvoir's work to Megan Thee Stallion. But it's maybe a little bit more nuanced. It goes beyond the sexual aspect and much more into a power dynamic, and perhaps even control and love. I'm going to quote de Beauvoir again, and I think this applies a lot to Megan Thee Stallion as well. On the day when it will be possible for a woman not to love in her weakness but in her strength, not to escape herself but to find herself, not to abase herself but to assert herself, on that day love will become for her, as for man, a source of life and not of mortal danger. In the meantime, love represents, in its most touching form, the curse that lies heavily upon woman confined in the feminine universe, woman mutilated, insufficient unto herself. I think what we're seeing with Megan Thee Stallion and a lot of other great artists is this idea of a woman to love in strength. escape herself to assert herself. And I think that's how we can take both of these albums as real feminist manifestos. And it may not seem that way. People may think, well, if you sing that much about your private parts, are you really liberating yourself if you're turning yourself into a sexual object? I don't think so. And I think mainly because the theme of this album isn't just be yourself. It's don't apologize for who you are. It's that number one bit, that anger. And I'm going to define that anger. I'm going to give you a stamp. This is an example song from the album. It's not my favorite song, but I think it's the most exemplary song. It's called Not Nice. Just click on the light up there above Kafka's head. I need to clarify something. Whenever someone talks about a woman as being angry, it's usually a gendered insult. Whenever someone talks about a black woman being angry, it is usually a sexist and racist insult. See, this is part of how patriarchy works. That, in general, women are encouraged not to speak, and if they speak, they are not encouraged to be listened to, and therefore, in order to be heard, they have to yell. In order to yell, they have to yell, and once they yell, they're called shrill and ignored. This process is amplified for black women, where they're encouraged not to speak, not to be visible, and then once they do speak and they are visible, there's this terrible stereotype of a sort of aggressively unpleasant black woman. I'm not the first person to talk about this. I'm not qualified at all to speak about it because it's so far from my experience, but I believe women when they tell me that they suffer from this, and I believe black women when they tell me that it is very hard to be in a public space because either you are perceived of as too meek or too powerful. You are not allowed to just exist how you are. So when I say Megan Thee Stallion, one of her dominant emotions on this album is angry, I'm not saying she's an angry black woman stereotype. I'm saying she's angry mostly about all that patriarchy stuff. She's angry as a way to be heard. She is nobly angry, gloriously angry. Do you understand the difference? Now, this song itself, in general, the production on this album is its weakest point. It's not that it's bad, it's that it's largely unremarkable. I do like the sort of trilling upbeat here, kind of a punchy sort of drill bass, woo-woo, that's used sparsely. But really, it's just Megan Thee Stallion's talent. And one thing this album really shows is she's just a really good rapper. She just has a lot of good flows, she has a lot of good rhymes, she has a lot of good presentations. I guess my skin's not light enough, my dialect's not white enough, or maybe I'm just not shaped the way to make these give an F. So really just right off the bat in this first verse, she's talking about this experience. Like, why is she not nice? Because her skin isn't light enough and her dialect isn't white enough. She's just not permitted to be seen. So when she's saying she's not nice, it's not like, I don't know, Drake, right? Drake has a song called Not Nice, right? And there he's just basically just being a pissy little kid. Stop expecting me to be nice. I like my mommy and my bed and my money and my women. Okay, that's how Drake sounds to me. I like Drake. If you watch my videos, you know. But that's how he sounds to me. Like he's trying to be like, I'm not nice. But what I hear is like, I don't want to be nice. I don't get that sense. That is some savage Drake impersonation. I don't know where that came from. I like Drake. I'm just trying to get clicks. But when Megan Thee Stallion says not nice, it's really important to see it in this larger context where niceness, if you are marginalized, is used as an excuse to further marginalize you and ignore you. Which is why in the chorus, I think I might just have to swear. I'm going to swear. Okay, listen, if you got little baby ears, I just got to swear because I got to quote Megan Thee Stallion because she's really good with swear words and it's essential to the verses. And so I don't know what's going to happen to my monetization because I don't usually swear. Fuck it, bitch. I'm not nice. I'm the shit. I'm done with being humble because I know I'm that bitch. This is a consistent theme, done being humble. This is an act of resistance. This is that point where she is loving from strength not from weakness, where she is asserting herself. It's fighting patriarchy. Then the second verse, she just gets mean. I mean, like, she has this whole thing where she's like, okay, I'm not nice. And then the second verse, she's just doing the dozens. She's just tearing. You a broke bitch. Your pocket's been a joke, bitch. You ain't worth a crack your mama used to smoke, bitch. Just, you got roaches in your crib sharing snacks with your kids, delinquent on your payments, ho. Go and post this. Just obliteration. It's great. I mean, some of the truly meanest, nastiest lyrics I've ever heard. Really? Not worth the crack that your mama used to smoke? Whew. So she's not nice. That is this one form of her, this angry, not nice person. But I think it's deeper. So let's go through the rest of the album a little bit quicker. And smash the like bucket. I gotta sell my merch. You can buy my merch on the Spring Store. You can smash the like bucket and buy a t-shirt with a bucket that says like on it that's smashed. You can subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. So the album opens up very much in this angry mode. That's like really the first like 5 songs on the album. I was just like, this is a certified classic. This album is going to be a freaking 10 out of 10 on all registers. And then it didn't fall off, but it changed. It took on those other tones. So it really starts off with the song NDA, not to be confused with Billie Eilish's song NDA. Great kind of ominous piano, ominous pulsing beat. I really like it because there's this fourth side of her, which I'll talk to you a little bit later. The poppy side, what I call the Bruno side. And I was really afraid that's what this was going to be. But by announcing right off the bat with just a rap song with rap lyrics, just rap. Great flow. It changes in the second part. One of my favorite kinds of lyrics. Badarari, can't let the shit I'm thinking catch up with me. You know I love this theme. I talk about it all the time. Going back to 17th century French philosopher Blaise Pascal, who talks about the need to divert ourselves. That's why there's no word for fun in French. It's divertissement, which means diversion. We can't think too much, so we just have to buy stuff. I happen to be watching Sex and the City while I listen to the song for the first time. I watch that while I'm at the gym sometimes in order to better understand every woman in my life. It's a good show. But there's a whole scene. The scene I was watching, the lead character, Carrie, had an existential crisis. And she went and bought Dolce & Gabbana slippers to like get her out of it. It's a very kind of similar theme. But I like this idea of like driving in a Ferrari and it can't catch up to her. It reminds me a lot of the song Sweet by Jay-Z, where he talks about tearing up the coast in a roadster and like trying to be self-satisfied. She talks more about sort of how people use her for marketing. And then again, right off the top, this opening song, she says very directly that no one listens to her when she's nice. Next song, still in this angry mode, called Ungrateful. Another ominous beat, still hungry. Nice kind of wiggly sounds in the back and piano. I like the production on here. There's a little bit more to it. A cool flow switch in this chorus. Like, too many. Just really nice kind of rapid fire flow here. This guy, Key Glock, shows up. Who's a good rapper, but like everyone else who appears on this album, he just gets out-rapped. Like, I don't know if Megan Thee Stallion intentionally did this, but there's a lot of guest appearances, and she's better than all of them. Then we get the song Not Nice, then we continue on with the angry theme with the song Budget. This one's one of my favorite beats. She's got a blown-out trap beat, like a Casio, like a thin Casio, kind of like ad-libs of her talking in the back. And then maybe the best guest appearance on here is this person, Lato. Talk shit like Joe Budden. Just it's like that. I like watching Joe Budden when he isn't on this weird manosphere kick. Man, it's depressing. When you really like watching people and then they just, like, you just watch them getting, like, sucked into these bad thoughts. Anyways, y'all can't pronounce big jets to Phuket. I'm like, fuck it. Perfect. Just funny. You know, just a funny, good catch, punchline. And then this is the thing, right? Because women rappers just are never going to get their due. They're just never going to get their due. And it's because society is patriarchal and sexist, and a lot of hip-hop fandom is sexist and patriarchal. That's just the nature of the world. That's just the nature of the genre. But what I love is that Megan comes back to do another verse. Like, the closest person, you know, anyone had to chipping away at her on this album was this Lato verse, and then she like comes back and does an extra verse, which she doesn't need to do. Next song, still in this angry mode, is called Her. The house invasion continues. It just continues. House music is now a big thing. This is very clearly following that trend. What could a host say? One of my favorite opening lines. I really like her sort of like her style, just like the way she puts these words together. The bag's so expensive, my pussy came with it. Body so nice, they be saying who did it, but everything natural, actual, factual, prissy in the streets, but I fuck like an animal. Like something just about that, like the rhythms, like but everything natural, actual, factual, prissy in the streets, but I fuck like an animal. Just really good sort of percussive, I don't know, just good rhythmic play with the language. And then just the whole chorus is just a fierce anthem. I'm she, I'm her. Later she says, I eat hate, that's why I got no waist. Very funny. Is that like thing in the background? I'm just gonna move this, because I get this sense that that light over there is a little annoying. Now I have kind of like side lighting, but that's okay. Next song is the first song to break out of the kind of angry mode. This gets into the sexy mode, gift and a curse. Super simple piano line and a trap beat. Just all about sex and more sex. I know my work. I know my worth. Fucking with me is a gift and a curse. Then I don't know. Like, maybe it's just me, but I get a sense of lightness with her. Like, kind of funny. Like, the second verse starts off, hey, shout out to my pussy. Like, that's how she starts. Just, I don't know. I find that to be a charming, funny line. This little bitch, the goat, an honorable mention to my throat. All dicks, please rise. Let's praise the ass and all my real freak hoes. Let's fuck some more. My motherfucking body, my choice. Again, she maybe did it better on the last album. No, she's not that she did it better, but she was more focused on the sex stuff on the last album. Body, yaddy, 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 right? But just here, like, just think about all of the, like, praising the female sex organ is something which is generally not done, which should be done more, and I understand that there was WAP and that it's a thing that happens all the time, but still, we live in a phallocentric universe, okay? Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos aren't trying to shoot giant vaginas into the sky, okay? So when we have songs like this that talk about these things, that talk about female genitalia in an interesting, funny, and empowering, and ultimately strongly feminist way, because we start off with, shout out to my pussy, and then it ends with, my motherfucking body, my choice. It's like a whole journey. And at the center of it is her claiming her bodily autonomy and her power. I'm just trying to, anyways, I'm trying to imagine what that spaceship would look like. But please tell me in the comments what the spaceship would look like. Continuing on the sexy mode with Ms. Nasty, kind of a gauzy, almost vaporwave beat here, just about being nasty. Another sex song, you know. This song has one of the few direct references to sort of sex as exchange. It's one of my biggest problems with her last album and just with this entire movement in general, that the idea is that I'm so good at sex that you'll give me a lot of money. I think that's a weakness. I think that removes the power from the woman, you know, when she's just doing it for exchange value. And so I like that in general, that's not how she is on this album. In general, the sex is for pleasure, not for exchange value. Because she's rich. Because she's talented. Right? Also, she talks very about how she doesn't expect her man to be faithful, which is interesting. You know, kind of a very realistic take on things. Next song is called Who Me, back to sort of angry mode. Low, kind of drill style beat, super simple. I just love the opening here. Meg who, beg who. just playing again. She really she really does lots of fun stuff with language, and then she has this whole quote. I feel like Biggie, who shot you? And she's like, everyone knows who shot you. I don't know who shot her. I remember hearing about that. I guess probably Joe Budden talked about it or something. It's like Trey something shot her, some rap guy. I don't know. I don't care. She says not to care, and Megan Thee Stallion, I'm right there with you. I don't care who killed you. I mean, who shot you. I do care who killed you, because I don't want to kill you. But I don't care. It really doesn't matter. Whatever art it is that you make is so much more valuable than whatever tabloid story there is about you getting shot. And then Pooh Shiesty comes on here. A nice kind of southern rapper again, but once again he gets out-rapped. Next song is in the sexy mode, Red Wine. The beat's a little too soft for me. I do like here, she sort of like goes in between the sexy mode and the worried mode, the sort of psychological reality mode. How could I lose a friend when I never had them? Whoa, jeez, man. Damn. How could I lose a friend when I never had them? I want the dick that make me act stupid. I want the dick that make me hate Cupid. I want the dick that make me walk bowleg. Hey Megan, why are those next to each other? I understand. She's feeling alienated. She's feeling lonely. She's feeling anxious. She's feeling like she doesn't have any friends. So in the second that she comes face to face with the fact that she feels lonely and she doesn't have any friends, what's the answer? What's going to save her? The dick. But of course, the dick is just another distraction, like a Ferrari, like a bag, like hunting, watching the Red Sox. It's watching the Astros. It's not going to divert you from the fact that you're going to die, that you may go to heaven or may go to hell or may go nowhere. It's not going to distract you from the fact that you feel lonely and there, but I love it. I love its juxtaposition. I think there's meaning. And then the chorus is just so pornographic that it actually has like orgasmic sounds in it. Then we get back to Angry Mode, Scary, featuring Rico Nasty. I almost reviewed Rico Nasty's album because I enjoyed watching her in concert so much. But I didn't. So I'm happy to have her here. I just didn't have the time. Une femme qui n'a pas peur des hommes leur fait peur, me disait un jeune homme. Another Simone de Beauvoir quote, a woman that is not afraid of men scares me, as I was told by a young man. That's a quote from Simone de Beauvoir. That's what I think a lot of this is about, is just about, like, part of the reason why this crop of female rappers who are so sexually aggressive are sexually aggressive is in that way of not being afraid. It's like being aggressive is a way of scaring men. And I could get into a whole Freudian thing here too, which I'm not going to. But there's a whole bunch of literature about men's fear of female sexuality. Men's fear of female sexuality is like one of the great evil forces in existence that's led to countless wars and lynchings and all sorts of stuff. So we need artists who are scary. We need WAP. We need that. We need to have people scared, confused, and confronted with female sexuality. We need to move the Overton window of discussions of female sexuality. We need to move that over. And that's what all this stuff does. So it used to be, you couldn't even say vagina without people going, oh. Now, with songs like WAP in the public consciousness, it's moving way over here. Like, we are totally talking a lot about female sexuality and female sexual pleasure. Way more than we ever were. And we can't get back here. We need to keep going, because it's not just sex. It's not just like, oh, sex. It's about equality and humanity. Megan Thee Stallion is very important. What she's doing is really important. So, it's nice to have Rico Nasty on here as well. This kind of music box sound, kind of a theremin. At times, the production on this album reminds me of Melanie Martinez, just in its sort of childlikeness. And like here, kind of the screams as well and spooky whistles. I really like Rico Nasty on here. It sort of reminds me of the Monsterverse. from Nicki Minaj on Kanye, you know, back in the day, just like talking about like ghouls and goblins and this ain't no trick or treat, but your man's tricking on me. Again, just we need this thing. This fear is useful. And then speaking of useful, anxiety. Anxiety. Megan Thee Stallion. Megan 3 Stallion. The third and most interesting part of her is this worried side, because this worried side is accompanied with emotional honesty. And rap music has been pushing towards emotional honesty all the time. From underground acts like Mach-Hommy to Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco in between, there's all these artists that just keep on talking about trauma and talk about difficulties and anxiety and fear, and they keep pushing it forward. And it's so unbelievably necessary for multiple reasons. Like on the one hand, of course, we're talking about primarily African American artists whose pain is often overlooked or expected or not taken seriously. I mean, like doctors, like this is well known. Doctors seriously do not treat black pain the same as they treat white pain. That's not me saying this. This isn't some liberal cuck critical race theorist. This is just actual factual data. And that's even worse for black women, right? Like their actual physical pain is not treated seriously, and their emotional pain is not treated seriously. So when this music becomes so powerful and becomes the number one music in all humanity, which is what hip-hop is, now they're pushing forward this concept of self-care and rich interior lives. It's going to really help the world. Like, not just that population of the world, but especially that population of the world. I'm a bad bitch and I got bad anxiety. Me too. You know? I am a bad bitch and I got bad anxiety. I have terrible anxiety. I used to take SSRIs. I don't anymore, but I used to. There's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't need them anymore. People call me rude because I ain't letting them try me, saying I'm a hoe because I'm in love with my body. Issues, but no one I could talk to about it. They keep saying I should get help, but I don't even know what I need. They keep saying speak your truth, and at the same time say they don't believe. The Grammy for Best Verse of the Year goes to Megan Thee Stallion for Anxiety. Beautiful. Just great. Bad bitches have bad days too. And all the while, by the way, she's switching up her flow. She's going to fast, slow, staccato. She's just like if you would actually like kind of beat out her rhythm like I was before, she'd just be moving in. Because they probably won't think it's that deep. And I don't do drugs, so I never get a time when I'm at ease. I can't even handle smoking weed. Megan Thee Stallion, Megan 3 Stallion. First of all, let me tell you, drugs don't actually help anybody. Future's coming on later on your album. He can tell you how they haven't helped him with his anxiety. But I love it. She's talking about this difficulty. Like this idea that maybe if she liked drugs, she would be free of this anxiety. Maybe if she could self-medicate, she'd be okay. But she knows that she needs help, but she doesn't know how to get it. If that is not a constant state in late capitalist America, in the late capitalist globe, I don't know what is. I will say a quick word out there. This is just an aside. If you struggle from anxiety, like I do, and you don't do drugs, and you don't drink, like I don't, you don't womanize or whatever it is, you don't have many distractions. The best thing I've ever found for my anxiety, personally, is Mario Kart. That's what I use. It's the only thing that makes me capable. Like this does for me what weed does for everyone else. I just play always Bowser. Always Bowser. Since 64, always Bowser. I just play. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. You can't predict when you're going to get a blue shell. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're going to win. You're going to lose. Maybe this would work for Megan Thee Stallion as well. It's the only thing that works to calm me down. It's like the Hulk thing, like touching the hand. Just give me Mario Kart and I'll calm down. I'm not sponsored by Nintendo, by the way. Next song is called Flip Flop. You might think Flip Flop is about something else, but it's the next song in this worried mode. It's about the death of her parents, about the sense of loss, about not knowing who she can trust. And this time I really like the softness of this beat because it goes along with this feeling. A nice addition of the bass to the second verse, just about this crazy sense of alienation. Flip-flop, it's lonely at the top, your people ain't your people. So between these two songs, Megan is really painting a very desperate picture of somebody who is really trying to get a hold of her life. But a sentence like, your people aren't your people, betrays such a sense of alienation and sadness. It's great. It's a quick song, it's clear. Next song is called Consistency. In the kind of sexy mode again, this samples Between the Sheets by Isley Brothers, which is better known for the sample for Big Papa by Notorious B.I.G. I like, though, this is almost a monogamy anthem. She just sings about, give me dick consistently. Like that's what she wants. Is it weird that I'm swearing, by the way? I did that on a podcast the other day. But she's sort of an artist with swearing. Like, to talk about Megan Thee Stallion and not say pussy, like, you have to do both, I think. I don't think you can, like with other rappers, I think you can censor yourself because, like, part of her strength comes from her unashamedness with this, Great kind of poppy bridge sung by Jane Aiko. Then we get to that fourth stage. You look at the album cover, there's 3 pictures of her face, but there's one kind of in between. That's what I call the Bruno. So we have the angry, great. We have the sexy, fine. We have the worried, wonderful. And then we have the Bruno. The good, the bad, the ugly, the angry, the sexy, the worried, and the Bruno. I call it the Bruno because Megan Thee Stallion performed at the Oscars. She did a verse for the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, and it was a painful thing to watch. It was just bad. I mean, it wasn't like her verse was that bad, but just like for such a great artist to just be doing this pop thing, it feels like she's feeling this pull. I think she was on like a pistachio commercial too. I think I saw her in a commercial or something. So, this is like a pop turn with guitar and bass, kind of forgettable, arguing with her lover. And this singer comes on. It's just not worthy of her. Then we get back to sexy mode in the next song with another clumsy portmanteau, Pressurelicious, kind of an ominous beat, more talking about pussy in bags. There's like these bells in the back that kind of remind me of Hit Boy's beat to Backseat Freestyle by Kendrick Lamar, which is funny because a couple songs later we have something freestyle. Future is like the only rapper who seems like he's capable of keeping up with her, although he sort of just gives up at a certain point and just keeps saying the word Adderall over and over again. He's like, 1 hour Adderall, 2 hour Adderall, 3 hour Adderall. Like, dude, I mean, there's a weird bit here. I mean, I do like how she talks about it's strictly for my pleasure. That's how she refers to sex. Again, moving away from the transactional nature of sex, which has been at the forefront of this kind of movement and moving more towards just female pleasure. At one point she says, keep me in cocoa, but it rhymes with, it doesn't rhyme. And the last thing that Future said was keep something in your veins. So it feels to me like she was going to say, keep me in cocaine. It's a weird sort of like, but we know she doesn't do drugs. So then we get to the song Plan B. You might think it's going to be a sexy song, but it's another angry song. Starts right off with fuck you. Old style, awesome hard beat. The drum beats reminds me of the Incarcerated Scarface's beat, one of RZA's best beats. I think RZA did that. It's either him or the Fourth Disciple. Kind of guitar stabs, and just the idea, just Plan B itself. I mean, think about the world that we're living in, the post-Roe v. Wade world. This album is not overtly talking about that, but my body, my motherfucking body, my choice. Don't forget that she said that. Here's a song about a contraception pill. I don't want to be stuck with you. This is important. It's important there's a song called Plan B. She's doing commercials. She's doing unpaid commercials for contraceptive methods that are not punitive or preventative. Okay? So, most contraceptive methods are preventative, are prophylactic, like prophylactics, like IUDs and all that. Plan B is what you do after sex. This is the kind of contraception that the patriarchy wants to ban, like abortion. They want to stop women having sex and enjoying it. They want to make sure that sex is controlled entirely by men. So her having a song called Plan B seems like it's oh yeah, whatever. It's important. And all the way throughout, Dick don't run me, I run Dick. Just a great line, talking about ladies, you need to love yourself. And then at one point she says she has a slick back ponytail like Ice-T. And I just like that. Ice-T is all over the place. I can't stop seeing him in Cheerios commercials. He was on the Game album. He's going to be on the Rock Marciano album. So, anyways. Next song is the Angry Mode again. Southside Royalty Freestyle featuring Sauce Walka. Sauce Walka, who was on the West Side Gun album from last year, one of my favorite verses. He's great. I just don't know him. I don't know Sauce Walka, but I've now heard him on that. I heard him on the Don Toliver album. I heard him on this. Every time I hear Sauce Walka, I go, damn, this guy's a good rapper. So I guess I need to figure it out. He just has great charisma. Much like Megan Thee Stallion, he knows how to mix things up, slow them down. At the end, he talks about how Houston invented drip. Did they? I don't know. If they did, man, here's things I like about Houston. First of all, may I be one of the very few white people in America to say Houston is a way better place than Austin. Austin kind of sucks. Houston's a very interesting, nice city. I really like Houston. So I'm just going to say that. Second of all, kolaches are great. Third of all, drip is just not a good term. So if you invented that, Houston, I don't know what to tell you, bud. It's not good. The album ends on a Bruno. Oh, what a Bruno. Sweetest Pie featuring Dua Lipa. Just pop mode. His nutty buddy wants my fudge round? Yo, that is the worst lyric on this album, Megan Thee Stallion. Why did you pull that out now? So, I don't like it. It's not good. It's not good pop music. It's not good rap music. It's just not good. But what are we going to do? Megan Thee Stallion, this little fourth Bruno mode, we can forgive it. We can do her the service of putting it to the side. And maybe that's what will end up keeping her financially floating so that she can release songs like NDA and Ungrateful. So there's my review. I really suggest you listen to it. Great rhymes and important as a feminist artifact of the 21st century. It's the 21st century, right? Yeah, the 21st century. I'm tired. You almost thought I forgot my Patreons, but I didn't. These are my Patreons. They give me money. I use that money to buy music. So thank you to these folks. Do you see your name on there? Okay. If you see your name on there, just give yourself a shout out. All right. Well then, until next time, keep it pussy. There's the camera.